letting everybody know that we're live again. Let's get the mic set up, get everything where it needs to be. Okay, let me have another drink of coffee. Alright, let's see here. So, while I was offline, I did a couple of things. I kind of changed this shape around a little bit and basically moved the triangle around and put some quads in some different locations, just because I think that it's going to end up helping me out a little bit more later on. And then I also replaced the hard crease with a bevel in here, so you can see that I have more of a natural shaped looking bevel going on. And I have some some oddness going on here, but it's because it's pretty low poly. Even for this, it's still fairly low poly. And so we'll have to try to fix this up a little bit, because I think what's really doing it is this one odd-shaped quad right here. So we'll play with that when we get to it. We don't have to deal with it right now. What I want to deal with first, I think, while we still have the subsurf modifier going, is the wheel wells. And so we're going to end up adding some geometry here, a couple loops here. Looks like we've got enough going this way. We might need to add probably just one going this way. And so, yeah, let's get going on doing that. So let me start with this one. I'll just go ahead and add that loop right in there. And let me respace these guys out now, because I just kind of want these to stay. Whoops. Why does it keep selecting those? Don't select those. Select these. Just want to space these out evenly. Probably to about there. Yeah, there we go. So that should help with any sort of too much geometry issues. Alright, so let me get back into side views. So that gives me an extra line going this way. Let me throw an extra one going over the top. Let me throw an extra two going over here. And I can do this kind of at will because of, let me just do from here to here. Because of the shrink wrap modifier, I have all kinds of freedom to do all kinds of crazy stuff and get away with it. So I can add all those lines and all that, which would normally just kind of totally wreck a mesh and wreck your reflections. But since I'm using the shrink wrap modifier, they're all being stuck to the target mesh, and my reflections don't get screwed up. They stay nice. So that's super helpful for making a game car, because you're pretty limited on your geometry. You can only do so much with your geometry. You can't make it photorealistic, a 250,000 polys. You got to keep it real. So, all right. Let's probably just go ahead with the knife tool for now, and I'm going to start with this outside rim right here, and I think I'm going to do 3. I'll do the outside one, I'll do one that's bigger, which means I may have to push these up a little bit. Probably have to move those up here to make room. Try not to butcher the mesh too much. Make room for it. And then I'll do obviously the smaller one in here, and that'll give you some extra geometry for doing morphs. So let's just start with the knife tool. Let's just grab the knife tool, and we're going to cut to here, we're going to cut to here, we're going to cut to there, we're going to cut to here. Oops, actually, hold on. Go from there to there. And I'm hoping this is high poly enough, because I didn't make a whole lot of cuts, but it should be good. Just going to keep cutting around. Cutting, hacking this all out for now. And I just got to kind of wing it from here. Alright, so now what I can do is select everything inside. Eventually it'll let me do it. And I can delete all those vertices, and I have my cutout. Now, obviously I have things like this end gone, which is fine. I will just merge these two at the middle. Alt-M, merge at center. And so now that's a quad. That's a quad, that's a quad, that's a quad. Just taking so this is an end gone, and I kind of actually want to keep these, which means I'll need to probably add a loop going this way. Let me join that. And then so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that gives me all quads. And then let me go ahead and space these back out evenly now that I've added an extra loop in there, just because I want to keep my mesh evenly distributed as much as possible. And maybe even that one. Loop tools, whoops, undo. Loop tools, space. Oh, space it evenly? Yeah, that should work okay. Alright, I think I have all quads now. It's a quad, it's a quad, a quad. That's a quad, that's a quad. Cool, everything's a quad. That's good. Alright, so let me go back into side view. And there's a couple of ways I can do this, I guess. I can probably... I might just be able to edge slide it. I can't do that. Maybe I can... Probably be better just to do another knife cut through here to do the outside diameter. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and do another knife cut. Might be the easiest way to do that. So we'll just kind of knife cut our way around again. And then we'll edge slide it. Like, I'm not going to worry too much about where the knife cuts go because I'm going to edge slide it against the original. Whoa, getting some lag here. Heads up. Keep on going. Anyway, if I'm not articulating what I mean, don't worry. I'll figure out how to tell you what I'm talking about in a moment. Alright, so let's grab that, and I don't want to make a triangle there. I just kind of want to do that. And so I kind of need to go through, and I've made n-gons again, but no big deal. We'll just make sure that auto merge editing is on. I'll just start like edge sliding these into position. Something like that. And then let's see, all quads until we get to here. And that's a triangle. So let's see, I'll probably just slide that guy down about like so, and I'll just slide this one up like that. And so that's all quads again. Quads, quads, quads. Alright, everything's quads. Let me just maybe I'll bring these guys this way some, so they don't crowd my geometry. Alright, so let me go ahead and get these lined up on the blueprint line. So I'm just going to kind of work my way around with all these guys right here. Let's get them on the blueprint lines. Alright, that one's actually pretty close. A lot of these are in pretty good shape. Let me maybe set these up so that their geometry makes a little more sense to me. That's already dead in the middle there. Put that one down. Maybe throw that guy there. Maybe throw that one there. I gotta kind of wing this one, kind of lose the line. Looks like it's probably back here. Maybe do that guy there. And definitely losing it here. Kind of on my own. Maybe I'll just bring these forward a little bit. Just a little. Just a little. Alright, now I should be able to grab this. And let's edge slide it. And I'm going to evenly align it to this. And I'll just bring it out to about there. And that should perfectly evenly space it. Gives me a little bit of extra geometry to work with for doing morphs. Alright. So now, maybe I can extrude. I don't know if I can do much else with that. Maybe there's a better way. Instead of extruding, maybe I'll just edge slide this, like so, and get it around the outer wheel well. And throw a loop cut in here. That loop cut should go right back on the line it was on. And I can just clean this up. And we'll put this around the outer edge. And actually from here, I should probably focus on less on the blueprint and more on the subsurf line. So let's pull these until they're You know what? I don't know. I think I'm going to sticking with the blueprints. Even though the wheel well will end up, you know, a couple millimeters out of position, it'll be okay because it'll, I think it'll end up looking better in the long run. May have to do some further tweaking with this. Oops. Ew. Like, because this is a really big gap, I may have to kind of scooch this one over a bit, like this. Just kind of even that up some. And maybe scooch that one over a tad too. Something like that. Alright, let's keep on going. Bring that one down, that one there. Let's bring that one in line. And bring that one in line. Let's see. This should probably go something like down here. Which means this one should probably go something like that. Alright, just working on around here. We will eventually get somewhere with this wheel well. Something like that. Kind of getting, I don't think that's going to be right. I think we're going to move these in also. Let's try to follow it some. Okay. Yeah, that should work out okay, I think. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, it's not too low poly. That should look just fine. And since we're using the, like I said, since we're using the shrink wrap modifier, the reflections are going to be perfect through here. Pretty nice. It's a little bit chunky through here because we have some pretty tall geometry. Even with the wireframe, you'll see it should be pretty square though. It's this guy right here. So let's see if we can tweak this to maybe make that a little bit friendlier to our mesh. Because yeah, that's a big old kind of triangle. Not triangle, sorry, but a big rectangle right here. So let's maybe slide these up. And we'll slide them up. Something like this. Just to give us more of a little better rectangle over there. Maybe slide this one back. Maybe slide this one back. Maybe we'll just kind of help ourselves out a little bit. Yeah. I may just have to add some geometry in here. Don't really want to add geometry, but it's probably not a bad idea. So let's throw in like something right there. We'll go in this way, and we'll end up spacing these back out. So I had brought this one over, now I'm going to put it back. Kind of do something like this, and do something like that maybe. And then bring this one up a little bit too, to maybe here. And then maybe we can actually bring some of these down a touch. Just a little. That helps a little. Still have some chunkiness. Well, it is just kind of low poly. Let me take a look at my target mesh and make sure that's not an issue. Yeah, it's not chunky here, so it's not the target mesh. So that's not what's causing it. So yeah, it's just because I've got kind of a large quad here, and so even with a subsurf on, even the subsurfed quad is, it should be fine. It's still just these kind of oblong shapes, and you're just kind of stuck with them. And there's a pole here, and you have to deal with them. So we just have to deal with it. No biggie deal. All right. Let's see. So now we have this, and we can start working on our inside of our wheel well a little bit. So what I have to do though, if I extrude, and you'll see what happens if I extrude and go in, like it's like empty. Excuse me. It's like empty. Like, oh, what the heck happened? Why don't I have? Well, that's kind of weird looking. Hold up 1 second here. I may want to do something about Well, I'll just leave it to morphs. We'll have this be the stock car, and then we'll let morphs pull these fenders out some more, I think. It just has kind of a little bit of a... No, I'm going to have to mess with it. Yeah, alright, let's step back a little bit. Let's step back just a touch. Let me grab my target mesh real quick. Let's see, what can I do with this? So yeah, it's kind of curving up here. And... I don't know if there's much I can do from this end, other than maybe throwing a little bit of a crease on here and just kind of sharpen this edge out. Just a little, not too much, just a tiny bit. Make sure it doesn't screw up my reflections. Just trying to flatten that out a little bit where the wheel well goes. Alright, let's see how that looks now. Alright, that straightens it out a bit more. So you can see that the subsurf has moved out in this area. Because we moved our target mesh, it's moving our mesh around. So I'm going to try to match it up just a little bit. I mean, it doesn't need to be matched up, but I like to keep it close. It gives me a little less trouble later on. So anyway, alright. Still got some chunky reflections in here I'm not super excited about. Look at that. Very wavy. Very wavy right there. You can see everything. Come on. Yeah, it just doesn't seem like it should be that bad. Well, that's concerning. I'm going to have to work on that somehow. I'm not quite sure how yet, but I'm going to figure out what to do with it. Anyway, let's get back to our wheel well. And so, like I had said before, if I try to extrude this and move this in, I just get this big blank space, and that's because it's being shrink wrapped. So in order to get rid of that, I'm just going to come over here and we'll remove it from the shrink wrap group, and I will get my fender lip. And, oh, what is going on over here? Oh, that's right. It looks a little funny because of the this indent, but that's fine. That will work just fine. So let's give this. Let's move to bounding box center. I'm going to give it another extrusion. Now I can kind of go at will here, and I'm going to extrude along the Y. I'm going to extrude along. Actually, let me just switch down here. Now I'll go to active element. I'm going to extrude along, or scale. Sorry, scale along the Z. Oops. Oh, there. I gotta go back. Gotta go back. I need to turn off auto merge editing. It's causing me some issues. There, that should work. Alright, let's try that again. Bounding box center, scale along the Y. Make that a little bit wider. What I'm doing here is I'm just kind of creating the lip, the inner lip. Now I'll go from here, I'll scale Z. And it'll be something like so. And then let's go ahead and give both of these a sharp edge. And I'll grab this one. I just need this. And we'll extrude it back along the Z. Like so. I'm sorry, along the X. And let's flatten this out so we don't have this weird thing here. So I'm going to make sure I'm on active element. SX0. I'll flatten that out. Come into side view. And let's give it a little bit of a taper. Go back to bounding box, I think. Scale it along the Y. Give it a little bit of inward taper. Not much. I don't want to choke the wheel off. But I do want to help hide some of the chassis. And let's scale Z. Just give it a little taper. Just like that. Alright. So once I add a material to that, that's going to be like plastic. So you'll see like a painted lip like you would on a real car with a fender liner. That's a different material. And then, yeah, when we get to doing our morphs, we'll be able to morph this rim, or this, rim, this wheel well, because we have all this geometry to work with. Should be quite useful. Cool. Alright, so that's one wheel well down. Although I hesitate to leave it yet because I still don't like this. And I think adding that mean crease has actually made things worse for us in here, right here, because I added a little bit of mean crease to it. It might have been better if I added just like another line here, like that. That's going to really flatten that out though. So maybe I don't want to do quite that. Let's undo that. Yeah, that's going to flatten that out a ton. I could probably knife cut a line in and just kind of hack this real quick. And that'll flatten that out right there. So let me see what that did. Alright, doesn't seem to have done any problem with the reflections up top. It has helped straighten out the wheel well some. But yeah, I think I'm just going to have to bevel this line. I don't know if there's any other way to get around it. I may have to just basically split this into two lines and kind of edge slide them around. And see if that helps me out at all. It's not helping at all. And you would think that would add enough freaking geometry. But grief, it's not helping. Man, that is just some oddness. Oh, I hate getting hung up on stuff like that, but that's 3D modeling. You end up hitting these roadblocks and you gotta figure out how to fix them. That apparently was not the fix. Let's try adding more geometry. I don't know. Add geometry till it goes away. Keep edge sliding stuff around. Yeah, none of it's helping. None of it. Let's undo all that. Since none of that's helping, there's no reason to add it. Save before I crash this thing with all my undos. Alright, go back to that. Well, I don't know, man. Kind of stuck right here with this weird reflection. It's really annoying. Yeah, I don't know. Just trying to make something work. That's probably a little better. Yeah, it sucks getting stuck on stuff like this. Alright, let me try. That's definitely better. Significantly better. Alright, I just need to play with this area until I figure out maybe I can tighten it up this way. There we go. Alright, it's starting to make sense now. Alright, we're starting to get somewhere. We'll move on to the rear wheel well here in a second, I promise. Let's see. Yeah, that's not too bad. It's a little bit chunky, but it's so much better than it was before. Let me see if I can, like... Oops. I'm gonna move that one down. See if that helps any. Yeah. It's making a difference. Okay. Let's move on. Let's not get hung up on there. I can come back to it and mess with it a little bit later if it still bothers me. But anyway, front wheel well. Let's do the rear. And the side view. Let's get out of matte cap and into studio mode. And let's see. This guy is going to end up being in my way. So let's move him. Let's grab this guy. Oh, heads up. Let's grab this guy here and slide him out. And I'm going to end up doing the same thing with this guy over here. Just kind of move him over. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. This should give me room. Alright, now, let's see, this guy. Maybe I just want to use it down here. Yeah, so let's bring this one down, actually. I'm thinking just a little. Yeah, there we go. So let's see. Gonna need at least one in here. Probably just one. Be good. One down there. Knife cut, knife cut. I need to add one up this way. Need to add one up this way. And then everything down here should be good to go. So that should give me plenty of geometry to work with. This, I should move back. Kind of get this one out of the way a little. Something like that. Alright, gives me plenty of room. Alright, let's get to cutting. Grab our knife tool. Cut the first, second, third, fourth. Let me just go ahead and join it here. And I will, yeah, maybe not. Figure out what, let me just go ahead and cut that guy off there. We'll figure out how to clean this up in a minute. Just like on the front wheel. And just kind of follow down here and just cut that through. Alright. Let's grab all these and delete them. Should give me my arch. Alright, now let's clean this up. Let's see. That's a quad, that's a quad. Here we have an end gon. And, well, this is an easy enough fix. Let's go ahead and do auto merge editing. Put that one down here. So that's a quad now. And that's a quad here. That's a quad, that's a quad, that's a quad. And this one moved down there. So that's a quad, that's a quad, that's a quad. Alright, everything's quads. Right on. Alright, let's get them lined up. Get them all happy and lined up. Let me turn, I remember to turn auto merge editing off after I'm done using it. I do that a lot and it gets me into trouble. Forgetting to turn that off, you know, merging a bunch of crap together you didn't want to have merged together. Alright, let's see, maybe I can kind of put this one down here and space it out a little more evenly. I can kind of do the same with this maybe. Maybe I'll move this one about here. Give me a chance to move that one about there. Give me a little bit more even spacing. Put that one about here. That one's already in place. A lot of these are in pretty good shape. Okay. Alright, so like before, I guess we'll just do our knife cut around again. Just kind of throw it in here real quick to give us some extra geometry. The rear fender I may do an extra loop, and I probably should have done that on the front, honestly. Go with a little bit more loopage. So now let's turn auto merge back on. And let's see, we're going to merge these together. Let me slide that one up a little. I'm going to slide that one down till it's all quads again. And do the same thing over here. Let's slide that one down a little. This one up there. And I'll slide it about like so. Move it. And that's a quad. It should take care of all that. It should be quads again. Alright, let's make sure we get it nice and even. There we go. So I'm going to edge slide. Hit E and F so that we line it up evenly with the inside loop. Not too concerned about this outer lip at the moment. I just want it to be evenly aligned with this. And I am... yeah, I think I'm going to add one more. I'm going to knife cut another one. Maybe make it a little further out. Just give myself some more geometry. I have a lot of space to work with, so I can give myself more geometry to work with for the fender, quarter panel, wheel well, quarter panel wheel well. Alright, so same as before. Just edge slide these in place till they're there, and I'm gonna have to clean up the mesh because now we're getting like kind of way out of whack here. So let's start edge sliding some of these and get them more or less squared up there. That looks better. Looks much better. Okay. Let's go ahead and bring this one down. Yeah. Okay. And then, yeah, I gotta clean this one up here. So kind of same thing here. Let's just slide these over a little. Kind of smooth out the mesh. It look a little better. And let's move that one up. Let's kind of clean up our mesh. Let's grab this line and we'll do the same thing. Edge slide and get it evenly lined up with that guy there. Oh, and wait a second. No, that was... I must have started... Did I start at the inside one? Oh, I must have started at the inside one. I meant to start at the middle. Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. I still want to add another loop. And I think I'm going to go back to the front and add another loop to the front. So let me slide this guy down. Out like here. Let's get it out of the way. Give myself some room to work with. About like so. And I have to do the same thing with these guys. This one would make a good door seam line, although none of these lines are final. Alright, so let's just move these this way. Let's move these. Not those though. Move those guys over here. And alright, that gives me room for one more loop. One more loop! Keep on going. Just gonna work around one more time here. Give myself plenty of geometry for fender morphs. That's all this is for. This is for morphs. This isn't because you need it for a model or anything. Like, you just need it for rigging later. The more geometry we have to morph with, the better morphs will look. Let's go ahead and throw that down there. And once again, edge slide to perfection. Totally perfect. And move that guy out a little more. Continuously straightening out my mesh. Something like that. Trying to keep my quads more quad-like as much as possible. Alright, can I do that on the front? Do I have room? See, that's the thing is I don't really have room to add another one on the front. I'm kind of stuck with it where it is. But anyway, let's see where we're at. Let's do wireframe. So that'll be like the final look there. And turn the wireframe off. Let's go over to shading. Turn on our matte cap, and let's take a look. Yeah. Shrink wrap doing its job, keeping everything looking good. Okay. Alright, let's wrap this guy up here. So, you can see how far off from the shrink wrap we actually are. It's quite a ways off. I may be about at the point, think about this for a second, I'm about at the point where I can probably apply my my subsurf modifier. And I've kind of gotten to the point where, real quick, turn off auto merge editing. Kind of gotten to the point where I don't do, like I have been in the past applying the shrink wrap modifier before applying the subsurf, and it creates mixed results. Like I could probably do it now because I haven't done any seams. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and apply one. I'm going to get out of edit mode. Copy and apply one. Yeah, that should be okay. It shouldn't cause me too much trouble. Except it might cause me trouble here. And this is why, yeah, see, it causes trouble in the seams. So it's better to apply the subsurf and then the shrink wrap, rather than apply the shrink wrap, then the subsurf. Because it gets a little bit out of whack when you do it that way. So, like I said, I might be at the point, I've got enough geometry, I think, to do seams and everything else. Let me see. Yeah, I should have plenty to do seams and windows and everything else. I shouldn't need to add any more geometry. I'm at about 9,000 tries, so we're doing good. So yeah, let's just go ahead and let me save a copy before I apply. It's a good place to, in case I need to come back and I've changed my mind. I'm like, oh no, I can't go back. Oops. Let's try that again. I'm going to call this pre-mod backup. Like that. I'm going to go ahead and hide it. Alright, let's grab this. Let me go ahead and apply. Let me get out of wireframe. Make sure that it's on 1. I don't want it to be on like 2 or 3, because then I will have a completely unworkable, unplayable mesh. I won't be able to edit it. I won't be able to do anything with it. It's got 155,000 tries. Can't do that. No, we want this. Alright, so let's go ahead and apply that. And let's apply the shrink wrap modifier. And you can see, because I didn't apply it above the mirror, that I've got a little bit of weirdness here. But I'm not ready to apply the mirror yet. I have to just deal with this. So it's not a big deal. Just go through here and move this on the X. And maybe move it down a little. Kind of same thing here. Move this on the X. Move it down. Grab these. Let's make sure that they're like this. Make sure they're all lined up. And that should look perfectly good. Now, I want to keep the shrink wrap on though. And what I should have done is copy it and done it, because I can still use the shrink wrap modifier. I'm not stuck with it without it right now. So let me go ahead and add it. Shrink wrap. Where'd you go? There you are. All right. So same as before. Target. Put it on the shrink group. So I can still use this. And now that the subsurf is applied, I won't have issues with my bevels getting lost. My bevels are going to stay put. But that's always the issue with applying the shrink wrap before you apply the subsurf, is that you can lose all your bevels and your seams get all out of whack. So we don't want to do that. Anyway, let's get out of wireframe. And let's go ahead and do our rim. This is not a rim. Let's do the wheel lip here of our rear quarter panel. So as you can see, shrink wrap is working again. So I'm going to go over to vertex groups and remove what I just extruded. Alright, let me crawl in behind here. Alright, go on to bounding box. We will extrude and scale on the Y. And then we'll grab this guy. Right there. Not this one. And then we'll go to active element. We'll scale on Z. Like about so. And then we'll extrude this back on the X and maybe line it up with the front ones and everything. Scale X0. Alright. Heck, let's see, these are not quite square anymore either, so let's get them square. Scale X0. There we go. Alright, so back to bounding box center, right? Bounding box. Let's scale that on the Y. Give it a little bit of a curve in there. And we go back to active element, scale on the Z, bring that down some. Alright, cool. Wheel wells! Alright, now we can start doing some seams, I think. And we'll put in the final details. We'll see about getting our sharp line going up here. So let's start with that. It's something that has been bugging me a little bit. I want to first of all get it right back on the blueprint line. I want to make sure that all of these are on the blueprint line where they belong. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to edge slide each one of these very carefully, making sure I have auto merge editing off. I do, so they don't accidentally weld stuff together. Because this is a seam that provides some detail about the car that we need to use as a guide. And I would like to bevel it. I may end up just sharp edging it, although I kind of hate to do that. That would be a really sharp edge. I'll start with that. We'll see if we can get away with a sharp edge, and if not, I'll see if I can figure out a way to bevel it and kind of get that little crease going. Alright, so following that down. Let me get out of that. There we go. Let's see a little better now. See why I like to use white blueprints, because I got the dark black lines and yellow lines show up really well on the white blueprint lines. You can see that in the blueprints video I linked in the stream. And I'm just going to keep following this down. See, now that we are working with a subsurf, we have a lot more geometry to deal with, so this really slows down modeling. So we want to get as far along the process as we can before we apply the subsurf, but we don't want to get so far along that we end up with a ton of geometry either. Hello there, 1994 Toyota Supra Wheeler builds. Alright, almost there. I'll just move this last one and the rest can stay. Don't have to go too crazy with the rest of this. Leave that alone. Okay, so now I have that. I need to do this from side view. Hold up. I'm going to go top view real quick. Now I go to side view. Oh dear. Well, kind of way off the blueprint here. We should be up here. And, well, we can do that. It's just going to take a bit of work. Ooh, okay. Alright, well, I guess what I'll do is grab this and move it over so that I can grab this, go into side view, and again, because we're using the shrink wrap modifier, we can get away with this. I'm just going to move it straight up on the Z because I don't want to mess with the alignment that I had from the top view. So, just doing a little fine tuning here. See the final mesh, because I really want it to be just right. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. So I'm going to be fiddling with this for a little bit before I really get into making seams. Just kind of trying to get it into what I describe as, you know, more of a perfect state, I guess. And it's just going to take a little bit of fiddling to get there. So one of the drawbacks to using subsurf modeling is if you do have a very specific seam that you wanted, it can be kind of difficult to get it to line up exactly unless you do a mean crease, which can kind of just make it look a little bit ugly. I don't know, it might have been worth doing on this mesh, not on the target mesh, but put a mean crease on this line so that it stayed put. then you could apply the subsurf and take the main crease off, and all the reflections should go back to normal. You can see we got some mesh going all kinds of different ways here. So let's just get this one up in position there. Alright, so now, you can see I've got this kind of weird thing going on that I don't particularly want. So, and yeah, because the target mesh is kind of where it is, I'm a little bit, I'm going to just have to kind of wing this some, because if I apply it, it's going to end up back where it is. So let's try to mitigate this as much as possible. I'm going to space this entire section out evenly, and this is going to take a little bit as I select. Because I am kind of beholden to my my target mesh, so it may not be perfectly lined up with the blueprints, and that's okay, as long as it looks good when we're finished. I just want to space this out evenly. For now, and then we'll deal with, you know, window seams and everything like that, and we'll get those roof what do you want to call them? Lines. Alright, so pardon me while I lose my mind here. Get that one done. Alright, space those out evenly. And we'll, like I said, I still got to fix that area down there. Alright, so that should help. Alright, I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to, at this point, copy and apply a shrink wrap modifier. So that line that I just straightened out is going to be back slightly off of alignment, but it's close enough to where I need it to be that I can now get the sharp edge that I was looking for. So let's try that first. Let's try just a sharp edge going, how far do I want this to go? Let me look at an image. Let's see if I can get the back of a car here. No, a convertible though. Down to about where the bumper is. You can see, like, on the car it would kind of flow into where the tail light is, but we're not doing that. So about to the point where the bumper is. So let's go back here. And so we'll stop this guy, let's say there. And, ooh, well, that's kind of weird. I'll have to fix that up. So let's give it a sharp edge and see how that looks. That might actually be passable. And probably better than adding a bunch more geometry. It seems to have a little bit of a dip right there. I might want to do some edge sliding to straighten that out. There's one of the drawbacks of using a sharp edge is you get like every little something that isn't totally perfect. Kind of shows up. Although, I don't know, that might be alright. Reflections are still looking good. So I don't know, I can always come back and bevel that later if I don't like that sharp edge. So it's easier to take off a sharp edge and put a bevel in later than it is to take a bevel out later. So yeah, we'll do that. Let's straighten that out. I don't know how that got out of whack. Kind of weird. Alright. Alright, so what do I want to do? I want to start with the hood. Oh, maybe I want to fix this up real quick. Let's zoom in here and see if there's anything I can do to rescue this section. Because it's got all kinds of weird geometry and overlapping and whatnot. So let's start with maybe the more obvious choice, which is to move this back. And let me see about removing it from the shrink wrap group so that I can actually move it. Maybe I want to put it more like this, and we'll do the same thing with this guy here. Let's remove it from the shrink wrap group and move him back. Just play with it, something like that. And some other weirdness, a lot of overlapping kind of geometry here. Let's just edge slide these up a little. Let's see if we can't just get a little bit of a friendlier look. This is because I did the spacing to even out the spacing earlier. So let's see if we can kind of work with it. Let's edge slide that around. I'll do... That guy's way over here now. Okay, probably should have just edge spaced the hood, but I'll do it in here. I'll do it inside the cowl, because the cowl is not so important. So let's just kind of like... Ooh, I don't want it to do that though. I'm sure. How do I end up with... I'll just edge slide it and I'm going to move it down a little for now. Is it supposed to be down or no? It's not supposed to be down. It's supposed to be this way. Let's move it that way. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay. And eventually I'll get through the fiddly part and we'll get back to making seams and other cool bits that matter. Let's edge slide this out a little this way. Okay. Yeah, this was a bevel. At one point this was a bevel. And it got all messed up. I might be better off if I just like join these together and re-bevel it. I think that's exactly what I'll do. Let me do something like this. I'll pick this line. I'll merge it at this, not the center. I want to merge it at the last. And I'll just, like I said, I'll just re-bevel this. Either I'll re-bevel it or I'll put a sharp edge on it. Am I missing one now? No, it's already here, huh? Oh, I know what it is. It's supposed to be this guy. Alright, we're getting there. I joined one too many over here before. Got one too many involved. Let's see, these guys, just get them. No, maybe not. Is it just this one? Am I going to put this on the workshop? No, this is not going on the workshop. This is going straight into the game. It'll be vanilla content. It'll come out whenever it's done and the next update is available. Let's see. About like that. Let's join these together. About like so. And let's join these 1, 2, 2, 3. About like so. Okay, so now I have a bit more of a mess, but also straightened up. Just want to kind of keep working this out here. All right. So let's try a sharp edge here instead of a bevel. Yeah, kind of works. Probably works well enough. I mean, we're going to need to put a window seam in here anyway. And then we preserve this bevel, and this is looking better. Okay. I think that ends up looking alright. Alright, let's see about doing some hood seams. Alright, let's go in top view. So the hood seam is basically just from here down through here. So all we got to do is essentially trace it out. So I'll follow this guy, and then this is also going to end up being part of it. Right into here. So let me make sure I get it about where I want it to be. So what am I looking at in there? Alright, well that might take a little bit of creativity to work that out. That's okay. That's what we're here for, is to be creative. Alright, so let's grab this guy and we'll edge slide it over here, and we'll edge slide this one over here. We'll just kind of follow the hood seam line. There's something different I have to do with seams this time around. I have to do some experimenting. There's a way to do seams to where they won't deform fixtures, and fixtures will not fall into the gaps. But it requires a little bit of playing chess, and I'm not very good at chess, and so I have to think a little bit about how I'm going to do it, because I think I basically have to make where my seams go, but don't make the seams yet. Like, so I want to basically trace them out, and I want to do, like what I do for a seam is I do a 5-way bevel, and then just leave it there until I get ready to UV unwrap. Because you have to actually do your UV unwrap before you do your seams in order to get this method to work right. I've never done it before. I've got a good teacher. So, if it doesn't work, blame Hamish. Hamish is one of the developers. He's the one who's got this idea on how to do these seams, and he's been doing it on bodies himself, so I know it works. Alright, so let's see. What I would do with that now is, oh, I don't want that. Let's hide that for a minute. Actually, let's not hide it. Let's just be judicious about our selection process. and to here, and all the way to there, there, and there. Now, if I bevel this, make a thin 5-way bevel, about like this. I'm going to create a bunch of n-gons in here, but I don't really care, because it's the cowl. Alright, so that would basically be the hood seam, and what you would do normally, let me save so I can undo what I do here. What I would do normally is select the middle line, like this, and then just like Alt-S, and that'll scale it along the normals. And then remove it from the vertex group and create a hood seam. It's normally how I would handle that. But what I have to do instead, I'm going to undo everything I've just done to that point. I need to kind of leave it alone, except I need to get into materials now, because I need to actually assign this lip placement material. Like, lip placement material? Why would you assign lip placement material to a seam? Ah, good question. Well, the idea is you make it invisible, and then you UV unwrap it, and then you come back and you duplicate it after it's UV unwrapped, so that what you duplicate will also be UV unwrapped in the exact same location, and then you apply paint material to that, and then yeah, just kind of go from there. So you would have, I don't know how best to describe it, but anyway, the idea is you basically have this, and then you would, do this. You would duplicate it, and then make that painted material, and sink back your seam, and that would be underneath this, which will be a clear lip placement material, so you'll actually be able to see it. And I guess maybe it'll be better if I just demonstrate it once we get to that point. So for now, let's get into, like I said, let's get into materials. Let's start with paint for everything. So the whole car is paint, and then I want to make this lip placement. So let's get the lip placement material out. And I'll assign it. So now my seam is purple. And let's go ahead and fix up this front that I forgot to do. Real quick like. Okay. Alright, so that takes care of the hood seam. I kind of feel like maybe that should have gone under the hood a little bit, because it just kind of stops there, doesn't it? Alright, let's go back in time. We're going to end up going way back to the point before we had this bevel done. All the way before when we had the bevel. Get rid of the bevel. And let me see what I can do about getting this seam to go underneath the hood here. So let me grab... I should probably just glue these together if I'm going to do that. Let's glue them together. Let's take this. Let's just merge them at the center. Or merge them at yeah, this middle part of the line. So then I'll do that, and then we'll put the seam right there. And hopefully that won't look bad. So I put this bevel in, and now I'm taking it out. Because I had a different idea, so... yeah, happens. Changed my mind. Want to do it differently now. Alright, let's go to there, to here, to here, to there, to there, to here. Alright, let's give that a bevel. A nice 5-way bevel, like we had done before. I'm going to go ahead and save it here. Now let me double check how that's going to end up looking. So, I'm going to remove it from the shrink wrap group. I'm going to Alt-S and scale it down. Let's tab out and have a look. Now that makes more sense to me because now it's an actual hood. And yeah, that should work just fine. Alright, so now we undo, right? Get back to before I removed it from the shrink wrap group. We just have the seam. Alright, let's go back and do the materials again. So we had paint for the whole car. First material we add paint. And then jump down here and do lip placement and assign it to the seam. Alright, cool. And then, like I said, we will finish the seam at another time. Alright. Alright, so what do I want to do? You can do a bumper seam, I think. Oh, I have to fix this again. Because I undid this repair. So let's fix that. And this has mean crease on. We don't need mean crease on any of the car anymore. We can just turn it off. Okay, so there's a bumper seam involved in this car. So there's the rear one. Come on, where are we at? Where's the front bumper? So front one, oh, the front one kind of bisects the hood. Darn it, I should have, now that I know that. It's so much easier to do a seam in that manner when you pre-plan it. Because now I'm just going to have to kind of butcher it in place. But that's, like I said, I'm not a very good chess player, so we need to kind of we need to fake it, because we're not going to do this, right? We're just going to kind of go, well, maybe we'll just kind of do something like that. Pick a line that we have. I don't know, where do I want to put it? Where do I want to put this bumper? Do I even want to deal with it? I mean, yeah, just make it realistic. It should have a bumper seam, but it should probably be more like here. Let me see about bringing this line down. And again, I can get away with this kind of hackery because I have the shrink wrap modifier on, so I can still move my vertices around and still not end up with a mess, as long as I'm cognizant of my mesh. Don't make too big a mess out of it. Alright, let's see. How do I want to deal with this? So I decided it was going to be, what, this one? From here to here. Not that far down. We'll go to about here. And so let's pick this line, maybe. So I'm going to have to kind of play with the wheel arch some to get this to work. I got to kind of move this one up just a little bit. I need to move that one up maybe a little bit more. And then, yeah, it gets a little tricky from here. I think I'll bring it down, make it a little bit lower than the actual seam, because I just need the space. It just comes down to I need to work with the geometry I have to work with. So let's bring this one up. Let's bring this one up. Let's try to get it right on this line so that I actually have a good reference. Right here. Alright, so let's see if I can just kind of edge slide all these into position. Starting with that one there. Moving on to that one there. Put this one down here. I'm just doing one vertex at a time, essentially. Getting them all on this line that I have chosen to be my line. And so that kind of creates, let's get this slid around a little bit. So I need to preserve the shape of this wheel arch as much as I can. Okay. Hopefully that'll do it. So let's see, where are we at? Now we're here, and we need to get to here. And of course I've got all this geometry in my way. And so that means I'm going to get to do some knife cutting and making some triangles and messing with that. and then trying to unscrew it when it's all done. So let's see, let's go from here. Maybe I'll just straight do a knife cut through it, right? And we'll go from there to here. Hold on, let me get this one on the same line. That way, it's a straight line. I'm going to start from one end, go to here, it's a straight line. Make sure that's what I want. It is. Alright, so let us take these and go here. Let's take that one, and that one, and we'll merge those together. Merge it last. And we got all kinds of like n-gons and other weirdness that we don't want. So let's take that one, and that one. Merge those at last. And so, okay. So we have triangles and all kinds of nastiness, right? But it's not the end of the world. So I am going to... I don't want to actually bevel that. I want the bevel to stop in here where you're not going to see it. And then probably, I'm thinking about it, I probably want to clean this up some. Maybe do something like this. Just to give us a little more curve. Alright, back under here. And I don't want to bevel. I'm going to have to clean up that mess also. So let's give this a quick little bevel. Yeah, we'll do like that. And then I'll come in here and I will see what I can do about fixing this up here in a minute. Alright, so let's give this the lip placement material. We'll assign it. Before I go too far, let's grab that middle line and let's go ahead and save it. I'm going to give it a test. Let's see, I'm going to remove it from the shrink wrap group. I'm going to alt scale it in. I want to see what that bumper looks like. Kind of hard to tell with the purple on there, isn't it? There we go. So that's what my seam for the bumper would end up looking like. Yeah, I don't know if I'm too crazy about that. So this line right here I don't care for. Right there. I want to do it though. Put it over here. Oh wait, that reminds me. I need to undo to the point where the seam is not wrecked or pulled in and have the materials taken off. Not the materials, but the I'm having trouble making thoughts happen. Thinking is hard. Okay, so now let's try to get rid of some of these triangles. Because I think that works better. That looks a little bit better to me. Maybe if I bring this one down a bit. It's not going to really go very far because of the... yeah, it's in a pretty straight line. I think it'll be fine. I think this will be just fine. Okay. And then from here, let me double check this guy. And let's just kind of merge that. Alt merge at last. And then we should be able to turn this into a quad. And we should be able to turn this into a quad. Like that. And that should square away our seam. Okay. What was I talking about? What was I doing? I think I'm getting to that part of the day where I'm getting a little bit burned. A little bit brain fried here. And coffee's not really doing anything anymore. see. Oh, right. I was going to get rid of some of these triangles. So let's do that. Let's just grab all of these. Let's turn auto merge editing on, and I'll just edge slide these over, and now that's a quad. Big old funky quad. And it might be the case that the triangle is better. And did that not join? Whoa, what happened here? Hold on, let me undo. Something funky has gone on. I did turn on auto... Oh, I didn't turn on auto merge editing. That's why it looks weird. Turn that on. There we go. And that has created some weirdness. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why did it go there? Let me change the threshold, something like 0.0001. It's kind of doing something I'm not expecting. There. That's what I'm expecting. Alright, let's see how that looks. Creates one big old, like, poly right there, but I think I can actually work that out. Maybe. I grab this, and let's edge slide this. Let's don't do that. Let's do it without this for now. Let's edge slide this over here. Kind of get it in the middle. And maybe I'll put that one there, maybe I'll put that one there, and then I'll see about doing something like that. And I have this triangle I kind of want to get rid of, but I don't want to get rid of this extra line there either. So what can I do? Kind of would just have to get rid of it, I think. I don't know. Well, let's save. Let's see what happens if I just kind of join these together. How does this end up looking? And then that's a triangle, so that's easy enough to get rid of, though. I can just edge slide that up, like so. So now I've got a bunch of quads around here. Let's see how's that look. Looks pretty low poly. Let me try, let's copy and apply the shrink wrap so that this is a little more representative here. Probably do something like this there. And maybe I can kind of move this guy down here. Okay. It's not the worst thing ever. Alright, that gives me... Still have some triangles over here. I gotta try to figure out how to get rid of, if it's important enough. And yeah, I probably should just try my best to get rid of these triangles. And I don't know, like if I do that, I just kind of... Okay. Well, that will make a quad with a pole here. And then if you're really... you could make that into a quad. It actually looks okay. It's probably going to look pretty bad, though, when I start doing fender morse, if I try to do that. So I think what I'll do... Let me throw a... If I do that, this creates more... Well, I might be able to fix it up. Let's try to join these together like this, and then I'll see about... Yeah, it's just going to create more problems, I think. I don't know what I'm going to do with this top one, so let's just undo that. That's not really the solution. Okay. Well, I did want another loop, though. I did want another loop going this way. So let me see what I can do with this. Let me see what I can do. Let me delete this edge. Let me put that loop in there. Now let's go ahead and make this an end-on. Let's join it. Let's see what I can do. Alright. Let's join that up here. Let's join this down here. So that at least gets this into an extra loop for me right there. And then to get rid of this, I'd have to get rid of this whole line, which is doable, I guess. Just kind of, oh, not there though. I do that. Okay, I'll probably make that work. Slide this over, slide that over. Let's try to get that centered up a bit. And same thing over here. This is kind of a little out of whack, so let me just try to straighten this out some, even it out a little. Fiddly, fiddly, fiddly. And then maybe I'll just kind of move this one up a little bit. Oops, I didn't grab the whole line. Trying to keep my mesh even, keep the reflections looking right. Okay, now let's try to work the rest of this out here. Let's grab that one and I'll merge it in there, and we'll grab all of these. And let's collapse it into here. And then slide that guy down there. And I think we have, well, this is still a try in here. Well, that makes a very funky looking quad through here. It's not really workable. One last triangle. I guess I can do this. Oh, I can't do that because that turns that into a triangle. I mean, the reflections through there are looking fine. And it's probably far enough away from the morph that it won't cause me any problems. Yeah, you can kind of see it though. Triangles always cause little reflection issues. So you probably just have it come down. So what I'll do is, let me try getting rid of this edge loop. Oh. Alright. I'll just edge slide it down like that, and then I will turn this into a quad. For now. It does make it a quad, although it's a poorly shaped quad. If I connect that now, it'll be another triangle. Doesn't really solve anything. Does it? Does it? I don't know, quads are better than tries, but that's not a very good quad. That quad causes problems. What I wanted to do, oh dear, was this. This leaves me with one triangle there. So that fixes that up and just leaves me with this triangle. Kind of move that guy over here. So I don't see any way around this. Not really seeing a good way out of this situation. What if I... Does that make this into a better quad? That actually looks a lot better. And it looks a little funny here. Let me go ahead and copy, apply the shrink wrap. Looks a little funny here. But, I mean, that's a much better quad. It's not as poorly shaped. We can probably still refine it further. Maybe I can bring this one down this way a little. I'm going to bring it back up. That's better there. Yeah, because that is a little bit more, yeah, that's actually not the worst thing of all time. Now let's bring this guy down. Let's get that to make a little more sense. Kind of smooth it out. Boy, that's pretty tortured in there. But it looks fine. I mean, the geometry is just ugly, but it looks fine. Like, for the most part. Yeah, I'm not sure what else I can really do about it. It's kind of going to be what it's going to be. Eee. That quad right there is almost a triangle anyway. That's also not a fantastic looking quad, but it is a quad. I could probably clean it up if I just moved it down a little. Yeah, it's not bad. It's better than all of this over here, which is good geometry. So that's working fine. Alright. Alright, let's take a look at the car again. Oh, I never did my, my little roof up here, the kind of mid-bulges. Yeah. Still not satisfied with this hard edge. I don't like the way that looks. And if I want to bevel it, I kind of need to work it in with some other bevels, I think. So actually, this whole thing here... Oops, not to that point, though. There to there to there. Oops, what's going on? Why are you selecting that? But not here. Where's our trunk gonna go? Or our bumper line? That's another one I get to mess with. It's this guy here. Let's get that back into position, huh? Where's that going? All the way around. I don't want the whole thing though. Just want some of it, so let's hide that. Let's slide that down a bit. And this is driving me nuts. This right here, I'm going to straighten these out. Just do not like the way that looks. Don't like that at all. Okay. Now let's grab this line here. Back in the side view. Let's see about getting it lined up. Here. Didn't I shear that before? It might be easier. I don't know if I want to use shear right now. Well, I probably can. Probably be alright. Yeah, it's not really... That's good for over here. Let's at least deselect that. Just kind of edge slide the rest of these into place, huh? Yeah, that'll probably work alright. That's a start. So that was this line, was it not? From here to here? Yep, that's the line. So from there to there, we're going to need a little more containment to make that look good. So let me slide some of these guys over. Too much there. Bring that guy down, bring that guy down. Alright, so that's a square. Alright, I can kind of space this out a little bit. Until it's about even. Okay. That should help. Alright, let's get rid of that sharp edge. Get rid of it, not add it. Smooth edge. Alright. Now, I don't want to add the bevel yet. If I add the bevel now, I need to get the this bevel going right here. And let me look at the car some more. So I'm going to have one seam going down here. That's a different seam from the glass, so I don't have to worry about that. So this is basically going to be the same bevel as this. And that'll be the same thing going over there. I don't have to worry about the door. And I don't have to worry about the... Okay, so that's a pretty simple one. Sorry if I'm getting a little scatterbrain sounding over there. It's because I probably am a little. It's kind of... actually, it's not really going to work, is it? Anyway, let's figure out. Where are we at? Where are we at? This was the line we were using, and then it kind of stops here. And then we end up with sort of the same kind of... Oh boy. Yeah, doing this is going to be interesting. Let me take a look at the picture again. It cuts straight across too. It doesn't like dip down or anything. And I'd kind of like to preserve that, but I don't know. That's going to be a lot of work to cut that across like that. Kind of an important line, though. It's a really important line. How does it feel to be doing Gaben's work? It's an honor, really. It's kind of cool that Gabe Newell's been playing automation and Beam and G and all that, and he didn't ask us to do any of this or anything. It's just, oh, yeah, I play automation, and we asked him what kind of, if he has a car that he'd like, and he's like, yeah, well, I'm pretty partial to this GT2 that I have. And so the devs were like, hey, Hard Rooster, you want to make a GT2? I'm like, sure. I'd love to. So I'm on it. Anyway, I think my, yeah, boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Alright, well, let's try to butcher this up a little bit, shall we? I'm going to kind of pick this line for a minute. Okay. I'll put that roughly there. Oh, I got a phone call. I got to take this one. Anyway, let me put the stream on hold, and I'll come back after the call.